there. In today's video, we are talking all about grant tips for your nonprofit if you are new to the grant writing scene. All right, so with that, let's hit it. Alrighty, number one, we have to understand what grants are and aren't. And I want you to think about it like a cake. So grants are not the entire cake. They're the frosting. So what I mean by that is that a grant should not be something you're depending on entirely for your organization, right? Like it is, you do not want to be 100% grant funded. You want to have 20-30% of your organization can be grant funded. That's a more healthy relationship and ratio. So again, thinking of it as like, this is the frosting on the cake, but we're not entirely dependent upon it as revenue for our operations. Okay, tip number 2, know where to look. So half the battle is not preparing the grant application. Frankly, it's figuring out what grant to go after in the first place. And hands down, my top recommendation on this is Instrumental. So Instrumental is a grant database we use, we teach it, we love it. However, if you do want to check out what else exists, I'll link below. We have a very popular blog post on the top 10 grant databases that we've researched, so you can go see what's best for you. But I'm telling you, Instrumental is awesome. Okay, tip number 3. Build a relationship with a funder. So when I was writing my book and I was adding a new chapter in the second edition about what funders want you to know, I will never forget what one of the funders told me. She said, nothing is worse than getting a perfect proposal. Wait, no, I'm not wording that correctly. Nothing is worse than getting a grant application when I have no idea where it's coming from, even if it's perfectly prepared. So that means that as much as you want to be an introvert, be behind the scenes, crank out this whole proposal, and then just deliver great work, it's not enough. They want to know you. They want to confirm that this is a good fit, right? So I will include, we can tell you at the end, how you can get the top 10 questions that I like to ask funders to start building that relationship, and that can be maybe a little bit of glue to get you going. Okay, so that's that one. Tip number 4, partner, my friends, partner. No grant agency wants to know that their money just goes into this little black hole and who else is it impacting. So not only is it literally going to have a bigger impact, like 1 + 1 = 3 in the world as far as I'm concerned, right? When you have a right partner on board that you're working with, you are exponentially more effective. And so the same thing applies when you're preparing to apply for grant funding, is showing those partnerships. It's so key. Like it is the make or break between those that will get funded and those that will not. So really think about what is our zone of genius and what is something we need that someone else is so good at, we don't need to go reinvent the wheel. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5 is spend time on the grant proposal. So what is the most common mistake I see people make when they start jumping into grant writing? They totally don't give themselves enough time, and they slam that proposal out like a minute before it's due. And what is that? A recipe for burnout. It's terrible, and you're going to be making mistakes, often dumb mistakes that cost you all that effort and stress anyway. So it's really strategic to learn about how do I actually understand the requirements of this grant narrative, what it's going to take to wrangle my cats, i.e. maybe your coworkers, etc., to really assemble this proposal and get this in 2-3 days early, stress-free. Okay, tip number 6, independent review. What do I mean by that? You might also hear me say quality control. So this really does tie into that previous proposal. And the idea is you really need to have someone with a fresh set of eyes looking at your proposal before it goes out the door. And there's just something about when you've been in a narrative for too long that you just can't see things clearly, or you're so in your organization that you don't even know that you're using your own lingo and no one else is going to know what you're talking about. So it can be very beneficial to give it to someone else, literally a friend, but not inside the organization, and say, hey, would you be willing to read this? Like that's the bootstrap version of doing it. I've done it where like I asked my sister to do it, and then she would put in my Amazon cart the thing she wanted me to buy her as, you know, payment for her time. So you can figure that out how you want to do it. It can be someone in your organization, but it needs to be Like, I always prefer it just to be another grant writer, someone you have a relationship with, you can pass work back and forth, just because they know what to look for, but they also know how to catch you from maybe not being as clear and concise as you should be. Okay, tip number 7, get trained to win more grants. Okay, I must seem like of course I want you to get trained. I teach you how to write grants, but it comes from a place of serious love and hardship, because you do not have years to learn how to write grants. And let me tell you, it is truly not rocket science, but it's not so easy that we can just roll off the couch, crush it, and be winning grant proposals. Ooh, my light's going off. Probably noticing that. It's getting cloudy outside. So I want you to think about, how can you level up, invest in this skill set, put it in your toolbox so that your win rate is way up and you feel confident about writing grants, versus feeling like you're just thrown in it and trying to figure it out and unnecessarily stressed out. So I'll link in the below description our mini course, grant writing mini course. It's 7 steps on how to write a grant, and I think you're going to find that very orienting. Okay, the bonus step I have to add that I forgot to cover here would probably happen here. So step 0, assess your readiness. This is a really common issue I see as well, where we're not actually ready to go after grants, and we jump the gun on it a little bit, and then we're not successful, and we burn out, and we wonder what the heck's going on, when we should have taken that time spent going after a grant we weren't ready for and just prepared. Do we have a clear project scope? Do we know what this project budget is going to cost? Have we actually taken the time to build our partnerships and negotiate agreements together? Right? Like, there's a lot you can do. It's what we teach with the project planning toolkit. Is like, this is what a funder is going to look for. So just focus on what you need to know you can prepare a grant proposal. So that's something I really want you to start thinking about. I also cover that in my book, so if you want to go read about it, you can go grab a copy. Okay, friends, I think that's it. And last thing is, I'll link also below a blog post that talks about the full 10 tips, where you can kind of get nerdy on each one of these points. But my lucky number is 7, so I pulled 7 of the 10. Okay, that's it. If you found this video useful, I'd love it if you would hit the like and subscribe button, add a comment, love to chat with you, and from there, let me know what else you want to learn about. It definitely helps me come up with new ideas on what we should be covering. All right, that's it. See you later.